hope traders and investors alike were green on Friday. What an awesome week last week. Very nice trends, very profitable. Day traders dream. So we have a big week this week. Have some big earnings coming up, as you can see. Palantir, Disney, Oxy, Norwegian, BNTX, TDD. This is one of my personal favorites. I love to trade this. Very profitable. On the actual earnings report, Roblox, AMC, Upstart, Neo, Plug, Fang, Lucid, AMR, Novavax, Rivian, Berkshire, Lyft. You got MOS. You got some pot names in here. Affirm, APRN, TTWO, Solar, I believe Solar Edge. It's a solar name. Apps, Mara, Party City. Let's go look at the data coming in this week. So we do have the general election on Tuesday for the House and Senate for Congress. So that can be a really big deal. This could actually cause a seasonal run, as the way, even with the way the market looks. We could still see some bullishness coming out of the election. We also have crude report on Tuesday, the petroleum status on Wednesday, CPI on Thursday, jobless claims. Look, Friday, this is huge right here, Veterans Day, bond market closed. Well, what does that mean? We usually chop big time. My opinion, if they close the bond market, they should close the stock market as well, but they don't. So we can definitely expect some chop on Friday. We also have consumer sentiment on Friday, so a big week with data. And as you can see, these are all the red. These are scheduled Fed speakers as of now, and I'm sure we will have more than this as the week comes on. They will be looking for platforms and finding platforms that they can speak on. So we have a big week. Let's go look at the charts. So let's start with AMC. We broke to the downside out of this ascending triangle. This is our bullish percent index. We talked last week, our reversals usually come, so we spotted this push in the market, so we were expecting this little rally in the market. This bullish percent index usually tells us when the rally's over. We can get right around this 70 area. Sometimes we push a little above it, and then we start to see the market pull back. That's the NASDAQ. This is the New York Stock Exchange, or the S&P 500. You can see right there at that area. And now the market is possibly turning around. The only thing that we may still try to get a bullish rally on is seasonal. The elections just happens to be a bullish time of year. So if the market wants to rally, it's going to be because it puts all this interest rate stuff to the side and rallies just because it wants to. So there's a lot of stuff pointing to some downside coming into the market. Our put to call ratio is 102, so we are still in the bearish zone. This is our oscillators. This is for the NASDAQ. We're at 114. And for the New York Stock Exchange, we're at 156. So I would consider anything up to 100 to be the neutral zone. We're a little warm, but we have plenty of room to move in either direction. The S&P 500, so this reversal this week really shouldn't be a surprise. We did run right into our weekly 20 and a downtrend here, so not super surprised to see us pull back. So if we do try to push that downtrend, it's still going to be a big deal. We can see our AD lines curling up here. The dollar trading in this little channel. VIX has just been a broken instrument. It is on its way down, even with the market pushing. With the rallies that we've been getting, the VIX is still pulling back. When you would think the VIX should be spiking, as the VIX 15-minute, it definitely has not been. This is crude breaking out of this little wedge here. So we have broken out. Can we hold this? We're right into the Bollinger Band as well. Crude is definitely one to watch this week with the energy names putting in new highs, very strong. So this is our advanced decline lines. You can see they are all curling up. High-low ratio, we are still seeing some new highs, but you can see that we've lost the, for a while, for a few days there, we were putting in more highs than lows, and you can see that now that has reversed. We're still, once again, seeing more lows versus highs. Apple, two big down days there. AMD, you can see it's just struggling here. We are back above the 9 and 20. If we decide to push here, look how tight these Bollinger Bands are. We pointed this out in the Discord. If we decide to push here, 50-day is definitely the target. I would watch this gap right here. You can see we have this gap that needs to be filled on AMD as well. It's one that we've been watching in the Discord. You can see AMD's weekly chart and a bear flag flagging right into that 9. Affirm has earnings this week, just pulling back here, just ugly. And all this is off that inverted, not inverted, but head and shoulders pattern, still working its way down. So we've caught a lot of these stocks to move lower. You can see the 15-minute for Affirm just getting destroyed there. Aflac looks really good here, and this cup has broken out, kind of flagging, hanging out, waiting on this 9. Look at the MACD, looks really good. Decent volume coming in. For a couple of days there, we had a little bit extra, so we were moving on, expanding volume, kind of back to normal now. Still worth keeping an eye on there. Amazon 15-minute, looks like it's leveling off there. You can see Amazon's weekly chart. That possible inverted head and shoulders has been destroyed. That is no longer something to watch for. You can see last week, huge down candle. Will we see any follow through? Can we see more downside? Will we get a wick play there? AMC 15-minute chart, you can see Friday had a big move down, did recover. A lot of the market looks exactly like that. AMD chopping around on the 15-minute. Traded in a fairly tight range. You can see Amazon's daily chart after the earnings were down here, but we did get back into Bollinger Band. Look at that expanding bearish volume coming in. One bullish day, but for the most part, we are bearish. MACD crossing to the bearish side. RSI is extended. Apache, good earnings. MACD's pinched. Looks really good here. Trying to push up. We have cleared this resistance level, this gap over here. Well, actually that gap was already filled, but we have cleared this resistance level. Will we see an all new high on this one? Will it join the energy club that's setting all new highs? Apple 15-minute, you can see the big pullback here. Friday was a huge pullback, found the bottom down here, and this is when the SPY found the 370 area, and they were there defending that 370 area on Friday, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the SPY chart. Can Apple hold this higher low, where it is put in this higher low showing relative strength in the market? Can we hold that on the weekly chart? MACD's pinching to the downside there. ARK, this looks like it's once an all new low, just being honest, but with Tesla taking a beating, also, this is just not looking very, very healthy. And I think we have an all new low coming for that. Boeing, we've talked about how this chart was showing relative strength. Earnings were not so great, but then they come in with that 400 planes, expecting to produce 400 Maxes next year. This thing has just been on fire. But overall, we've been talking about the relative strength in this chart versus the market for quite some time. Bitcoin's looking pretty decent here. We're back above the 9 and 20 on the weekly. That's starting to be a big deal. Our MACDs and our PPOs are open. If we try to push, your 200 weekly would be the next level on the weekly chart. Bitcoin on the daily, you can see we broke out of this little wedge. We were watching a rounded top for a while. I just was not happy the way this side formed, and to me the pattern was no longer valid, but you can see a descending triangle here. So far we've broken to the upside with decent volume coming in on it. MACD's trying to cross. Boeing 15-minute, you can see the big move up on Thursday. charge point. This has been pulling back. Once again, this is exactly what we were expecting. There's your head and shoulders pattern. We actually had a double top and a head and shoulders. If you would have opened when we broke out of this, you could have bought some options and bought a little time to see where it's going to go, or you could have naturally just traded it, day for day. Chewy, we've broken out of this rising wedge here, pulling back down below all the major moving averages once again. MACD's turning over, crossing to the bear side. You can see Chewy here, 15-minute big pullback, trying to find a bottom there Friday, but not a lot of strength in it to push it back up. Consumer staples, you can see we ran right into that daily 200 and pulled back. As of right now, we're back above the 9, but barely. Look at your MACD trying to set in and push up there. So you got crowd here. We had this bear flagging into a downtrend and got exactly what was expected there. Huge pullback. Chevron, this is one of the better energy charts. So we tried to push up off the 9 and we ended up pulling back. See how this acts. If I would like to see another pullback, touch that 9 and push. You can see Chevron here on the 15. Nice push up on Thursday. Pull back on Friday, but we did have a push. Got a reversal signal down there as well. We did have a recovery. DVM was looking really good. They come out with earnings and they lowered their dividend and they got destroyed. But you can also see the reversal signal down here. You can see we gapped up and pulled back. But on the daily, we pushed right into our 9 and 20, and that's where we started seeing troubles there. DraftKings, they reported. The report wasn't bad. Had a decent guidance and sold off. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Checking my notes now. I can't quite remember the details on the earnings. We look at so many of them. So we got Lilly here. Lilly, all right, DraftKings. We had a beat with a good guidance, and it did sell off. So Lilly here, you can see, nice push up outside of the Bollinger Bands, was able to come back in, pull back, and we pushed right off the 9 on Friday and pulled back. Actually, it looks like we probably gapped up and pulled back. But these big pharma names are still worth watching. I really like Labu. If you don't know which one of these to trade, LABU is a nice little asset that trades, has good range. XLV, we've talked about this. We talked about this inverted head and shoulders. Energy's just been on fire. You could have bought options on this and went a couple weeks out and made money on it. Very simple play. ExxonMobil, nice push up here on Thursday. We did pull back on Friday and tried to recover, but that would have been a nice play there. I had my eye on trading CVX on Friday, and I just couldn't get off the SPX. There's just so much money in that thing. You can see Ford here. MACD looks really decent. Got this little rounded bottom. We are holding the 50 while the 9's catching up. Nice MACD there. So we've just crossed the 0 line, so we're getting a 0 line reversal on our MACD as well. I think that's one to watch. I think we can get a move up to the 200. First Solar, we've broken out of our broadening wedge. This move here kind of made the pattern invalid, but you can see it still respected it up here and pushed up. So sometimes a textbook would have said that this was an invalid pattern, but sometimes your best moves come from non-textbook patterns. You can see strong MACD there, a ton of relative strength. So this is the S&P 500. That's the 9 on the S&P 500. You can see how we're below the 9, and here we're clearly above the 9 on top of the chart. GME, we broke out of this ascending triangle and right back in. Google, just getting destroyed here. Sad. The Qs, you can see the same thing. Big pullback. We did try to recover on Wednesday when gapping up in pre-market and then pulling back. You can see right here, that's where we gapped up and then snatched back, pushed it open right back into pre-market levels. That's why pre-market levels are so important. A lot of traders say turn them off, turn them off, turn them off. I think you should know, even if you're keeping them off, I think you should know where your pre-market levels are. They're very important. Qs weekly. I take a really good look at this chart, see how we are down on the lows here. So we're going to look at the S&P or the SPY in a minute in the weekly chart, and you can see the relative strength, how much weaker the Qs are than the SPY. TLT daily is just still down here on the bottom of the chart. We need bonds up. We need the dollar down if this market wants to push. IWM. We had a nice candle. This is the weekly candle, not this week, but the previous week. Last week, we got a little bit of follow through and then pulled back. IWM daily, you can see we had a divergence here, but you can actually see that the market, we pushed up and then pulled back, trying to hold a 50 here in between that 50 and 9. Kind of a tough place to be on a daily. See, 15-minute chart kind of traded just like the market. We gapped up in pre-market, pulled back, and this is where we found this 370 level on the SPY. And 75% of the market trades with the SPY. Lockheed Martin, this is a really, really nice flag here. MACD's changing character, but there's still a chance. Look at the rejection here off that wick. Or off the 9. Look at that wick on that 9. There's a chance that this could push. MACD is changing character, so if it's going to push, it's got to do it now. Mara, we're getting back down below resistance, or below support, which now will be a resistance. Meta, just getting destroyed. We just picked up news about more layoffs coming on this. It's just sad. I know there's still people sitting in this stock at like 350 thinking, it's going to go back, it's going to go back. It's just a big move down. Another move, we were calling for all new lows. If you would open some options and bought some time or use some kind of spread, you could definitely be making money there. Meta's been just moving lower. Your 15-minute 200 is now resistance laying right on top of it. MU, back above that resistance level, back above all the major moving averages except for the 200, but your 9, your 20, and your 50s all coming right in there, and we're back above that resistance level, which is now support. So that's a good look there for now. Microsoft's just been getting destroyed. I remember hearing some people talk about how basically sell Apple and buy Microsoft because Microsoft's going to be better than Apple. And I didn't agree with that. I actually, if I was to buy anything and hold, if I was going to do a long hold or anything like that, just not my style of trading, it would definitely be Apple would be one of those stocks. Apple is a big player in the market. Microsoft here just getting tore up. Actually did have a decent day Friday, though, trying to bounce. So we're showing big relative strength in the market on Friday, which we called that out several times. You can see it's trading in this descending broadening wedge here. The 200 weekly is support. So we're back above our support area here. So we did close above that. But that MACD's pinching to the downside. Feels like there may be further downside coming. Moderna here. Got this nice cup. This has made a nice move. So we had this diamond. We got some downside off the diamond. We called up. We called for some upside here. We got it. We called for some downside out of the diamond. Now we're looking at this cup. All right. So they had a decent earnings. Well, really, the report really wasn't really that good, to be honest. But they bought the weakness back on China. The China COVID news come out, and they bought the weakness back on that. Basically, China's going to let other vaccines from other countries, vaccine makers from other countries come in and try to help them with vaccines. So Moderna was one that pushed on this. You can also watch BNTX and watch PFE on that news. MACD looks really good there. And it just happens to be in the pharma. MRO, we talked about this nice push. We talked about this flag, push back up. Just a all-around strong, super strong stock. You can see MU here had a huge push on Friday, and then it pulled back with a nice recovery. A ton of relative strength there versus the market. So this is the NASDAQ. You can see we're moving lower. MACD is starting to pinch again there. Netflix pulling back here. We have lost our 50 and our 20 day. So we're below we're below the 200. We're below the 9 and the 20. Your 50's down here for support. MACD's rolling over. Looks like it's ready, putting in around the top. Looks like it's ready to pull back. NVIDIA actually looks decent here. Been putting in this tabletop, pulled back, and ripped up above it. So let's keep an eye on NVIDIA this week. We can push. A lot of the semis been coming in with some bad earnings, but this is still capable of pushing. We have a decent MACD there. So MU and NVIDIA, let's keep an eye on those this week. You can see the big chop down, but a stronger recovery at the end of the day. So we went right back to the pre-market levels where we gapped up. You can see NVIDIA's weekly here trying to push up back above the 9 and above the 200 on the weekly. So your 20 is going to be resistance. We also are trading in this descending channel. So if this tries to push, we have our weekly 20 at 150.06. And please remember, this is going to move a little bit when the market opens tomorrow. Your moving averages are moving targets. New week, that moving average is going to move a little bit. Oxy, you can see this big pullback on Thursday or Friday coming into earnings this week. One to watch. You can see it just never really got this strength off from that inverted head and shoulders that the other names did. It did push up into previous resistance though, so we did manage to push up there and pull back. See how we act when we get back to that 9. See how the earnings are this week. Palantir, another one with earnings this week. We have come right back down to this trend line here. So this could be a higher low. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what the earnings are like. We do know that they've been, we've picked up a few contracts. So that Palantir has received a few contracts. And I'm sure if you're watching YouTube, there's plenty of YouTubers out there that just talk about Palantir and how great of a company it is. I'm not one of those people. But, it is what it is. Palantir pulling back. You can see Friday it did get some recovery. Pendleton, big candle on Thursday. Held up above the 50 on Friday. Let this 9 catch up. See if we can push up. Plug, we had this pattern up here. The 1, 2, 3 reversal. And we've had several bear flags on the way down, just continuing to pull back, getting destroyed. Riot, pull back. We could not, we talked about this last week. We were up here in this tabletop. We had broken the trend, but this was the area that needed to be taken out, and it has pulled back. Rivian, trading in this little broadening channel here, back down below all your major moving averages. Roblox had this cup. I really was hoping we could hold some of this move and ended up losing it, getting snatched back. S&P 500. You can see we'll talk about the SPY when we get there. Salesforce, just a huge move down here. 15-minute. Snow. So we were talking about this level last week. And we ended up losing that. We talked about this Wednesday night, and Wednesday night's video lost that. Friday was a huge down day. So we talked about that level being the level to watch, either for a bounce or to lose it. You can see we got a small bounce, and then we come back and lost it. SoFi just getting destroyed here as well. We are right here at a support level. Will we push? We're back below our major moving averages. Tried to put in some kind of little cup there. We had this big move up on, I want to say earnings. That was an earnings move. And then after the earnings move, it just got snatched back. Your MACD's just about ready to cross bearish. Now you can see this is the Dow. You can see how much stronger the Dow is, but it only holds like 30 stocks, which happens to be Big Pharma, which has been strong, happens to be Energy, which has been strong. So they hold a lot of those names, and that's why the Dow looks better than the SPY. You can see the SPY weekly here, where on the S&P 500 we didn't take the downtrend out. With the SPY, we did take the weekly downtrend out, but we have lost that trend line. You can see overall it's trading into a descending broadening channel as well. You can see SPY's monthly chart just in a big downtrend there. So we did gap up on Friday. If you look at the intraday chart, you can see where we gapped up, pulled back. We found this bottom down here. We pounded out a bottom, hammered out a bottom right here on this 370 area, and then that's when we pushed. So actually I had a trend line drawn watching this wedge. Look like a little descending triangle or wedging down here. We ended up breaking it to the upside. Somebody was defending that 370 level, and we seen that evolving, and we've seen a big push. So our trend chart, so we're losing our bullish trends. Our long-term trend never turned, stayed bearish the whole time, but our medium term did turn bullish, and it is right back to the 0 level, so it can really go either way right here. You can see our short term, it did push up for a bullish move, but has reversed the last 2 days, showing bearish. Square, still back down here below this level. Really thought we may be able to get something down here off this little rounded bottom, and just couldn't do it. Earnings come in for that one. So SQQQ, we were looking for a move down when the market was pushing, and then we decided that, you know, when the market turned, to look for a push up, and that's been working well. XLK, the technology sector, pulling back below all the major moving averages. Look at your MACD there. This is a very big spot. Will this pinch and open up, or are we going to continue to roll over? Tesla, bear flagging into the 9. So Tesla daily chart, big down candle here. You know, I hear a lot of people always using their 12 and 26 looking for moving averages, crosses, and that's the way they're trading. But if you're using a MACD, you really don't need to have a 12 and 26 moving average on your chart, because when these cross, that's when they're crossing. And as you can see, it's just not reliable to use just a moving average strategy. Moving average is a huge part, and it's definitely in my toolbox, but I don't look for, I don't trade just on moving average crosses. You know, it's just a tool in the toolbox. Bonds weekly, back in the Bollinger Bands, but we need these to push. We need bonds pushing. We need a strong bond market and a weak dollar. As for the bond market being closed on Friday, usually we chop when we have that. It's usually a serious big chop day. You can see Friday for Tesla, another big down day there. Uber's just chopping around. It did break out of this descending channel, just kind of chopping around back below the 200, back below the 50. Still above your 9 there on your daily chart. And you can see UNG. This is a very strong move last week. Was actually watching a candle pattern on the natural gas chart. I meant to put that here. If you look at the natural gas chart, natty gas is showing it's trading in like a tabletop up here. I'll get that posted in the Discord. You can watch Boyle, UNG. I like LNG. Tel can be a good trader on natural gas, but Boyle can be a good trader too. You know, it has a decent range, but it can be a fast mover. It can be a little difficult to trade, but it can be a fun trade as well. You can see Wells Fargo here, so it showed some strength, then ended up pulling back, but showed some relative strength versus the market itself on Friday. Walmart still watching this MACD right here. We can still turn to the upside. Look at the rejection. We tried to get below this 9. We gapped up and trying to hold that 9. Let's keep an eye on Walmart this week too. XLF, financial sector, back above the 9. If we continue to push, I need to change something here. Looks like the 200, yeah, something's wrong. This should be red, but this 200 up here is resistance. ExxonMobil, I was watching this flag break here. We did push up in pre-market and pull back. Still watching that. As long as this 9 is going to move up further, we still have another chance of ExxonMobil and these energy names pushing higher. And this concludes our video for today. I hope everybody can take something from this. Have a great day. I'll see you in the trading room. And remember, your true trading journey does not start until you start to apply discipline to your trading. I'm sorry, but that's a fact. You haven't even experienced the joys of trading until you start to apply the discipline. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the trading room tomorrow morning.